We are live. Welcome to UFL Rundown with Curt and Alan. And we have a very special guest on here today, returning guest, Coach James Shiver.
Yeah,
So,
thank you guys for having me, man. Thank y'all.
yes, we're honored to have you on, Coach. Well,
Mhm.
I know the last time we had you on, we were all excited about the AFL season.
Me
I
too.
was excited. Yeah, I was excited to see the Voodoo, man. I you know, searched to watch the Voodoo games. It's like welcoming a family member back into my living room. So I was all excited about the season. So maybe you could clear some things up for us or talk with us about what happened. I mean, what's going on with the Voodoo? I know the AF1, they have expansion teams. They have three, Stockton Crusaders and Monterey Kings, and Wilkes-Barre, Northern Pennsylvania is going to have a team down there. But what's going on with the Voodoo?
Well, so you know how it all kind of ended last year, Kurt. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of crazy. Um, we started off on fire. I thought we had a great organization, a great program. I mean, I know our front office was rolling, our players were rolling. And we played week one. The game actually, the week of the game, we started getting everything in to set up for the game. And they didn't send the first down markers. They didn't send the net system. They didn't send things that were things you have to have. I'm sorry, guys. The coincidence is there's a train passing while I'm at a 7 and 8 year old flag football game right now. So hold on, it's passing right now. Anyway, so we did the best we could, man, with what we had. We had it all set up. The turf was up. The boards were up. But there was so much stuff missing, man, and it really started setting up a bunch of red flags. Well, in Lafayette, there was a big, we call it the Festival International, where it's a huge festival. All kind of people come to Lafayette. It's almost like a big state fair, kind of. So they called us that morning and said, "Listen, y'all going to move out of the apartment complex that y'all spent training camp in. I mean, in the hotel complex, and y'all gonna move down the street to the city right down the road." Which nobody really thought anything of that because of the big festival. I mean, all the rooms are sold out for the festival a year in advance. So we just kind of figured, look, and the hotel had been telling us when we moved in, you can't stay for the festival. The festival, we were full. We were full. So I figured we'd move about 15 or 20 minutes down the road into one of the little towns down the road and stay there for the weekend. Well, so we move out that morning. Everything is at the field house or in the cars, in the cars. We play the game. The guys don't think anything of it. I don't think anything of it. Well, at halftime, I noticed that I still hadn't got an email for the reservations. I hadn't got an email for anything. Start making phone calls, right? At halftime, we got a big lead. We're beating up on the Soul real bad, Philadelphia Soul. Um, and listen, no responses, no responses. Nobody answers, which was kind of worrying. It's worrisome. Um, so I find out in the fourth quarter, I get a text back when the game's out of hand. We were definitely winning. Uh, just send the guys home for the weekend. Well, you can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't do that because our guys were recruited from all over the United States, so you can't send them home. You know, so some of the coaches got together. We actually paid some of the guys hotel rooms. Some of the guys had family in Houston. Some had family in New Orleans. So we kind of got the guys situated for the weekend, and then just kind of like crickets, man. I mean, we did talk to the commissioner, and he was like, he calls me up the first thing Sunday morning after the game. He's like, I don't know what to do. All your equipment didn't come in. You're not gonna be able to play next week as a home game. Maybe we can, and we can rush it. And I said, listen, the people in Lafayette, and there was a good crowd, and there would be an even bigger crowd because the festival wouldn't have been next weekend. I said, look, I said, we'll have a huge crowd if you get everything to us. So, and I said, but if you go 2 weeks, then we need to use the excuse that it's not safe, and let the people know, because if the people know, it won't hurt us. Well, of course, no communication from the league office. I get a phone call on Monday mornings, and it's the same excuse I just made up to you guys, and I made up to him that day. He starts telling me, listen, it's not safe in your arena. And so I knew I called him in a lie at that point. You know what I mean? I said, I'm the one that made that up. I'm the one that gave you that excuse, you know? Um, and so, of course, there was a lot of things. But I will tell you this. Our front office kind of got together. Most of the bills in Lafayette were paid. except for our salaries, the player salaries. But I mean, everything else around the KDN, like the businesses that we use, we had took care of them. There was a couple of invoices that weren't paid. Um, so I knew that things could be salvaged. And the fans, listen, I go to Dave and Buster's quite often. My wife and I do, and I get stopped by fans all the time. Are the Voodoo coming back? Are the Voodoo playing this year? I don't know. I didn't know at the time. I really didn't know. Well, Jerry Kurz gets involved, and I've been friends with Jerry for years. And so we start talking to Jerry, and so several different investment groups have come forward and looked at the team. Have tried to take over the team. So, some of them were kind of concerned with I think the market's been burned. Our market wasn't burned. Our players were burned. Our coaches were burned. But our market wasn't really burned because we really did. As we were getting the money from the league office, we were paying those bills. We weren't holding on to it. So we made sure that most of the people were taken care of. There were a couple outstanding invoices, and I did talk to those people, and they understand. And there have been some lawsuits filed, but mostly just for small claims. Nothing huge. And now we do have a lawsuit with the players and the coaches going against, Travell and against the league, the AFL. But to move forward, Jerry's talked to me several times. We've actually tried to move, to get the teams going for next year. And he's been talking to these ownership groups. Last I heard, about 2 weeks ago, there was one ownership group that was still, pushing for it, and he's left the door open for expansion. So will it happen? I hope it happens.
Oh, me too. I mean, with Jeff Fisher being commissioner now, you have a lot of good people in there, so
Yes,
they know how to run a league. They know what it takes to get a team off the ground. And the Voodoo, like you said, they already have a following.
yes.
So the Voodoo,
We had a good following, man. And one thing is, the best move they made is whenever they got Jerry Kurz back on board. Jerry was around whenever the old AFL was going on. He knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows where everything was happening at. My advice whenever I send an email to all the owners, and I just said, look, I got to do something because these guys are some con artists. And I said, look, here's the deal. If I was you, I would take over the league. I would get Jerry Kurz involved. I'd get some of the old, Stockton, Compton involved. I get those guys back involved and let them do what the league needs to be done. They know what needs to be done. It was successful for a long time, and they did. They got those guys back. Steve Titus, awesome owner in Billings. Been on the phone with me, communicates with me, tells me what's going on. We still text and talk quite often. I have gotten offers from some of the expansion teams to be a head coach. I haven't taken any of those yet. Kind of waiting to see what happens with the Voodoo. And I don't know if I would take any of those. Just saying, because I'm a Louisiana guy. I might just stay in Louisiana and coach my high school team and be content with that. But we'll see, man. I mean, I love coaching.
Yeah, Coach. In fact, it's awesome to have you on. I definitely appreciate everything you shared with us. You going through this, how much emotionally was it for you to go through this process of the peaks and valleys?
Well, it's hard for me, man, because as a coach, I get real attached to my players, and I knew they were done wrong, man. I mean, they were done wrong, and we couldn't write it. I mean, the coaches couldn't write it because we don't have that kind of money to write what was done to them. We did take care of them. I feel like all of our players, if you talk to them, will tell you, we were stand-up guys. Our coaching staff did everything we could for them. Called other teams. A lot of our guys ended up going to, Salina, Kansas. Some went to Orlando. They were all over the league playing at the end. We had a great roster. I mean, I want to say as good as anybody. I thought we'd be right there at the end, for the championship. But it is what it is, man. Things happen, bad things happen to good people every day. Adversity strikes. And one thing that football's taught me since second grade, I've been playing football, and one thing that's taught me is overcome adversity.
Yeah, now that Coach Fisher is at the helm, what are your thoughts about that now, that transition?
Well, I think Coach Fisher's awesome, man. I talked to him whenever he first took over. I told him it's the best thing that could happen for the league. At the end of the day, I want the league to survive. I think it's great for the players. It's great for each community that it's in. I think arena football has been around for a long time. I'm a huge fan, and I'm like you guys at that point. If I'm involved or not involved, I'm still going to be involved because I'll be a fan. You know.
Yeah. And for the businesses that, you mentioned most of them got taken care of, are they taken care of now, or are there still some outstanding that you want to clear kind of the bill or what have you, so that you have a clean slate and start from there?
Well, I think there's been a few. There's a couple outstanding bills that need to be paid, but for the most part, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Every business that we did business, I mean, if we did business with them, they either got a handshake from me, they knew what was going on, and as soon as that money came in, they got that money from me. You know, I wasn't the general manager, but they never appointed a general manager, so I was seeing about everything. And in this community, your word is everything. You know, in Louisiana, it's still old school. You know, days of Huey P. Long, the Kingfish. You know what I mean? It's who you know, not what you know. And so, I mean, I put my word on the line, man. I mean, I still do radio shows talking about the voodoo. Plus, I'm a big high school coach in the area. I mean, I wouldn't say big. I'm a high school coach in the area, so I know a lot of people. And so, you know, I mean, my name's not burned. The voodoo name's not burned. Um, you know, who knows what'll end up happening, you know?
Yeah, like
See,
voodoo,
yeah.
I'm sitting here, it's almost like having a part of your family being lost for a while right now. I'm missing to see I'm jonesing to see some voodoo games, you know what I mean? It was a event to see a voodoo, game, I was a matter of fact, Coach Shiver, I was waiting for your era to begin, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I was kind of fired up about it too.
I feel I feel AF1 Arena Football 1 is going in the right direction though, I mean, I feel really good that it's going in the right direction, the right people involved. I think we lost coach for a few minutes, Alan.
Oh, okay.
I don't see him up here on the screen, or I'd bring him back up, so I don't know where he went, if he unplugged something or something. But yeah, it's
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get Coach back on, and yeah, it's
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
some riveting stuff that Coach is sharing with us about the process of what's going on behind the scenes. And I know Coach he wears his heart on his sleeve, so it probably was really tough for him to go through this.
yeah, he's an upstanding guy. You know what I mean? I could really trust him. Yeah, I mean, I
Hmm.
I feel that by meeting him as many times as we met him and talked to him, the conversations we've had with him, he's really upbeat, upstanding guy.
Yeah, he is definitely, and I just this is what happens sometimes when you're dealing with a league. Things don't go smoothly, and you have to adjust to it. But I definitely hope that they make things right with the businesses that are still outstanding, just because he is right. My brother does live in Louisiana, so I know that people talk. It's not as, even though it's a big city, it's not that big that you think, meaning people know if you didn't make did good with them, or you didn't pay a bill or something like that. So it's one of those certain
Yeah,
cities that people will know. You won't be able to
Mike,
hide.
Alan, Brian Mathern is on here. He said he can't hear your mic that well, and I got
Okay.
all the mics are up, so I don't know if it's on your end or.
Okay, I appreciate him letting me know that.
Yeah,
Just
thank you,
want to share.
Brian.
Thank you,
He's
Brian.
in the chat from you know, uh Voodoo Magic there.
Yeah, so should be hopefully better now.
I can hear you. So I see sounds a lot better. I don't know where Coach is at here. Where's he gone to with us? I don't know. He's not. So I can't bring him up if you don't appear here. I don't know where he's at, but anyway, it's a intriguing conversation, about the league. I know this spring when I went to find the Voodoo, I wanted to watch some of their games. It was in the spring. I was looking to watch some Voodoo games. I couldn't find them anywhere. I couldn't find the games, other games of other teams, but not the Voodoo for some reason. I saw these little short news clips of Coach Shiver. He wasn't happy. And I can see why, but like he said in an, another interview with other people, he said something about he's just fine going on vacation with his family. He don't care about it. He's just doing it because he loves it. It's a passion of his. So I mean, I mean, he's a good coach, good human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. He is an outstanding coach, and nobody wanted to this situation to happen, but you learn from it, and hopefully now with Coach Fisher, things will turn around and get better, and things will run a lot smoother for sure. Because there is a big following for arena football as well as the Voodoo. There is a lot of interest, so it is a situation where hopefully this does turn around in the right direction, and people will forgive as long as you make things right.
Yeah, well, I've been kind of seeing what they're doing. Compared to what was going on 7, 8 months ago in the AFL, I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. But at least now they have a direction. I know that they are expanding. They have the Monterey Kings out of Mexico, which that's going to be something different, new. They have a really great looking facility, and then you got the Stockton Crusaders, which are going to be playing in. Oh, it's a beautiful stadium. I can't remember what the heck the name of the stadium is, but it's a really nice looking stadium, beautiful outside and inside. And then you have Wilkes-Barre, which in northern eastern Pennsylvania. So Wilkes-Barre is going to be having a team there, so that Albany Firebirds will have a little bit of a rivalry there with with that. So I'm looking forward to that. There's no name with the Wilkes-Barre team yet, but I'm sure they're going to announce it. I'm sure they're going to have quite a few announcements here coming up in the coming weeks. They're supposed to be signing players and giving letters of intent and schedule. So there's a lot of things. They're moving right along, just like the UFL is. The UFL is. I'm amazed at some of the announcements we've had so far. So, and with the new coach there, the Memphis Showboats. What the heck was his name? Alan Winscott.
I'm gonna pull
Alan.
it up here. I'm gonna pull it up here and make sure I quote it right.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who the general manager is too, but I Onos or one of those type names.
Yeah. So yes, Ken Wisenhunt, and that's
Wizen,
the right. Yep, that's
yeah,
right.
Wizenhut. Yeah, he was involved with the Arizona Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and
That's right. Yep,
uh,
big time. And Jim Monos is the new general manager as well. So
yeah,
Jim Monos for the general manager and Ken coach Wisenhunt. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a new regime.
yeah, the general manager. He was involved with the XFL in 2022 and 2023, so he knows the insides and outs of the league. So that'll help too. He's not just somebody coming in new about the spring leagues or anything like that. So it sounds good. And that Brian Matherin said, has anyone heard if Chris Chatty AFL have added any teams to their league for 2025? Yeah, the Monterey Kings, the Stockton Crusaders, and they're going to be having the Wilkes-Barre team, which they're going to name the team down the road here soon. And
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me just yeah. So it
and
should be interesting.
yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. But Brian said here the coach might have his phone might have died, so I have no idea if he's got another phone right there with him around the area there.
Yeah, that was unfortunate to lose coach, but it was amazing what he did share, and just the process of going through what he's been going through had to been tough on him.
I can't imagine, after years of being in the league, being a coach, having everything together, the hard work of putting a team together. We were talking about the quarterbacks last season. Um, had some really good players. He feels that his team would have beat the Orlando Predators and the Albany Firebirds that were in the playoffs and stuff. He feels that he had a good enough team where he could have beat both of them teams. So I don't know, you know. I wish it could have been seen. I wish I could have seen them in the playoffs or in, you know, have some good games there. I would have loved to watch them. Would have been cool.
Right. You're absolutely right. Let me see here. Yeah. So it would have been really cool, but nice thing is that he did share that we have a new regime, new coach Fisher, a lot of
Yeah,
experience, so it should be turning around. We're working to make things happen here, and hopefully coach is all right, and he'll chime
yeah,
back in.
yeah. I think, like Brian said here, he thinks his phone line went dead, so he should be coming back up here hopefully soon. And UFL's looking good, Alan. We have a start date, you know, March 28th, so we know that. And we know the
Yes.
teams. I think the teams are going to be pretty solid. I think they're going to be, you know, good. And I think Memphis Showboats are going to be a lot better this year.
Yes, I think so too. And I definitely I love the new hires there. I think it's going to be something that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of interesting. And tomorrow, for those who don't know, I will be covering the UFL Orlando showcase. So it doesn't stop. I'll be in Orlando tomorrow early in the morning. The showcase starts at 7 in Orlando, which is almost now because of traffic, the way things are. I would guesstimate around 2.5 hours away, just because of we just had the hurricane traffic. But yes, I will be covering the UFL showcase. I did the XFL showcase before. This the first time is the UFL showcase, and I'm curious to see who shows up. I'm actually curious to see who shows up. Could be it could be just about anybody. I know there's going to be coaches show up. I'm not sure who as of yet. So it's going to
Yeah,
be
sounds
fun.
good. Yeah,
It's
you
going to be
know,
fun.
Wizen. Yeah, he's a veteran Wizen Hunt there, so you know he'll probably be there. He'll be looking for some players for that team.
Okay, yeah, yep, definitely, and it's gonna be fun. Yep, Ken.
I'm looking forward to all the teams, but I know we've talked about it before in previous episodes about Orlando and New York, New Jersey Generals, but I know we don't have them, but we still support the league. Maybe down the road, maybe in 2026, we'll get Orlando team and a New York team. That would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it'll come. It's just I just think they just gotta work out some of the kinks, and yeah, it'll be here before you know it. So I'm not really worried about it. I know that Orlando and Tampa, those are big markets. People love football here in Florida, so I know it's just a matter of time. But I'd rather have them get things kind of squared away first, and not try
Yeah,
to do too much too early, because that will cause your any league to just fold real fast.
yeah, that I know, and it's I used to watch. I was going to talk to you guys about. I used to watch a team, the New York Dragons, in the old AFL, and they had a quarterback was Aaron Garcia, one of the best quarterbacks I thought I've ever seen play. He was a really, really good. I can't remember what his stats were, but man, he threw a lot of touchdown passes. I think it was 109 passes in the one season there. I think 2008 or six season, if I'm sure. I have to go back and check my stats on that, but Aaron Garcia was a really good quarterback for the AFL. And of course, remember back then they had Kurt Warner was involved there. That's where he got his start until before he went to the Rams with the greatest show on turf, and which was cool. And then he went to the Cardinals, which was awesome. But yeah, I love the AFL. I used to watch, you know, the Nashville Cats. They're still around, so I'll be watching probably the Nashville Cats this year if the Voodoo don't come back. I was hoping for the Voodoo to come back, but if Coach has anything to do with it, they will be back. If I know Coach Shiver, he will get them back.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's real passionate about getting them back, and I know he wants to not leave the way things happen, and I know he wants to make things right. So he's gonna get back in the game. There was some questions here by Brian too about Chris Shetty and the AFL. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know too much about that. No, I don't. Nope, I don't know too much about that. Was talking about, if there was going to be a team in Louisiana, Southern Louisiana, but not that I know of. Like the expansion teams that I know of is the Monterey Kings and the Stockton Crusaders and the Wilkes-Barre team that they haven't announced yet. So I know them three are expansion teams that should be coming up. Having more information on those teams. As far as the Southern Louisiana team for 2025, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, no worries. But yeah, so it's gonna be awesome. I'm definitely excited to that we have Coach Fisher in. You got to get things to get settled out, and definitely a hope of those businesses that haven't been settled up get set up quickly so that they can continue to do business again.
Well, I was, there's where they played the Arena Bowl last year. It was at the mall there,
Oh
and
yeah, it came out pretty nice. I mean, the actual production was really nice considering it wasn't a mall, so it ended off great. What'd you think about it?
I liked it. I thought it was a good look. I mean, it was a good look for arena ball, and it was. I liked it. I mean, the lighting was good. I just wish there was a little bit more, you know, uh, talk about it. The arena ball coming to the, but it was on CBS Sports, so they got a good thing going there. I guess they still have that contract, or they still have that connection with CBS Sports this coming up season, so that they'll have that. Maybe ESPN. I'm not sure. I know they used to play on TNN, but I don't know if they're going to be back on TNN. But from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing from other people, it's going to be pretty big. I mean, they have some really, the Stockton team, the Stockton Crusaders out in California, they got some pretty big people involved with that. I can't remember the names, uh, which I should have wrote some of these information down, but I didn't. But the good people from people involved with the Rose Bowl, the ownership and stuff like that looks good for that team. I'm not quite sure, but I'm the Monterey Kings because it's so new. It's going to be international in Mexico, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Like I said, I live not too far from Wilkes-Barre, Northern Pennsylvania team that they're going to be announcing here soon. So I might hit one of those games down there in Wilkes-Barre when they come. I've been wanting to. I haven't got to an Albany Firebirds game yet, but I'm hoping maybe I get to one of those Albany Firebirds games up in Albany when they play live home up there. I would like to get there. Maybe this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, props to Albany Firebirds if they're out there listening. Definitely appreciate them. They follow the Allen Alfred Sports Talk show, and yeah, we've kind of communicated a little bit through social media. The the promo that they had, the most recent time that we communicated, the promo that he just put out. What had happened is one of my friends that was from the Orlando Guardians. You see him getting burnt on a play,
Oh,
Nasim Hussein, and I said, "Hey, you can't do my boy like that on the promo."
oh no! I know,
Because
man.
you see the wide receiver make a cut, and he literally broke my good friend Nasim Hussein his ankles, and I was like, "Oh no, you can't put that up," and as a
Oh,
joke, and they just laughed, and but I shared it, but I was like, "Hey," and then I tagged Hussein in, so he's seen it. I know he saw it before I tagged him in it. I know he had to,
he
but
probably
yes,
said.
props.
He probably said, "Alan, why did you do that? Why did you put that out there?" But
I
anyway,
didn't make the promo that the Firebirds did, but they made the promo. And I was like, "Hey, you can't do a guy like that in this promo."
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say? We have to get Coach Ware. He's the coach of the Albany Firebirds. We have to reach out to Coach Ware,
yeah,
see if we can get him on.
we should, and then definitely, yeah. So props with the Firebirds. They're gonna be back. I saw that too. That promo was awesome. At least it got the point across. They're coming back, and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, and I
so
don't know
definitely.
Darius Prince, if he's quarterbacking this year, he must be getting up there in age. I'm not sure, but Darius Prince was a quarterback last year, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. Najee Hussein. Yep. So definitely
Uh,
Najee Hussein.
yeah, I remember watching with the Albany Firebirds years, decades ago. I mean, years ago, there was a guy who played for the Albany Firebirds called Eddie Brown.
Eddie
I,
Brown. Yep.
Eddie Brown. Look him up. He was a good, very, very good player. Broke a lot of records for the Albany Firebirds. I think, if I don't quote me, but I think he was from Syracuse, but I'm not positive.
Okay. Yep. And I'll check it out there. Eddie Brown. Let me go ahead and check him out.
Yeah, he was awesome player. I think he broke. I think he. I'm not positive, but I think he was from Syracuse. I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I remember that player. Oh, Brian,
Touchdown, Eddie Brown.
touchdown, Eddie Brown. Thank you, Brian. Brian, where's Coach?
I I did send Coach a message that he could. It's not too late. He could sign back in. I did send him the message about 5 or so minutes ago that if he's still available, he could. He's not too late to sign back in.
Yeah, just sign back in. We'll pop him back on. We'll finish our conversation. And
Touchdown, Eddie Brown.
yeah, man, he was a good player.
I
Brian
hope
says,
everything's okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I
Brian.
did notice that. It would say like a little green light if he was online,
Yeah, yeah, it
and
would
I didn't
say
see it. I hope everything's okay. But yeah,
me too.
I didn't see anything as far as him being online. I hope everything's all right. Maybe his phone just died. He just has to
Yeah,
recharge it.
I think that's what happened. But maybe maybe that's what he's doing. He's in another room charging right now, charging his phone, so he'll pop right back on. Well, anyway, yeah, thanks, Brian, for that touchdown, Eddie Brown, man. Yep, I remember him years ago. Good player for Albany Firebirds.
Yep, and that's right. I did see here number 17.
Yep,
So yeah, so that's right. And if you go to YouTube, folks and fans of the show, touchdown Eddie Brown. He has some great highlights there. I see him right here.
he's a
Touchdown
good
Eddie Brown.
player. He's awesome. He was really good, man. I never forgot that guy. There was a lot, that's what I said. I wanted to talk to Coach about some of these. The AFL has been around for a long time. I've watched it ever since I've been a kid. And I was just always hoping, for it to grow to a point where, it was good back in the day. It was on CBS, it was on ESPN, it was on TNN. You had, a lot of good players coming through the AFL. And I think now, with these new owners and the people that are around the AF1 league, Arena Football One, I think it's going to be a lot bigger than even it was back years ago. I think it's going to grow, and they're going in the right direction because they're going. I've never heard of a league, UFL, XFL, or even the NFL, as far as that goes, going to Mexico to have a team in Mexico. The Monterey Kings are from Mexico. I guess it's a really great looking facility down there. So that looks like that's going to be a pretty good team. And then you got, of course, the Stockton Crusaders, which I mentioned earlier. I don't know why I keep bringing them up, but I got this weird feeling about that team. They have so many good people around in the office, coach, and it looks like they're going to be a good team. They have a lot of, you know, uh, people around that team. The helmets look good. Everything looks good. And they're in a good venue, good franchise. California, they have a lot of exposure there. So hopefully that team will do good. I think they will. I wish they would bring the New York Dragons back, man. I miss the New York Dragons so bad. I used to watch some guys, like I was talking to you about earlier about Aaron Garcia, and oh man, what a team! They were really great. And Brian Matherin says lots of love. I think he might be heading on out of here. I don't know. He's probably trying to find Coach. I don't have no idea where Coach would be, unless, like we said, he's charging his phone and getting ready to pop back on here. But I'm, you know, I'm at a loss. And it's
I don't know what happened. Yeah, but he was flowing good. He was flowing.
yeah. I wanted to hear a little bit more
Yeah, I
what
wanted
happened
to.
this spring. You know what happened with the team, and it's very strange because it's almost like the voodoo disappeared. I didn't know where they went. I got so busy I was doing investigations and other shows and stuff like that, and a lot of different other things. And I tried to keep in contact with Coach, but somehow I kind of disconnected with Coach there a little bit too to keep an eye on everything. But it was almost like the voodoo weren't there. I mean, they disappeared. It was just strange. I think
It
they kept
was.
teams, the older teams like the Firebirds and Orlando Predators. You should maybe maybe we will do something with the Orlando Predators. See if you can get you right down that way.
Yeah, I definitely would love to. And it was set up really nice. They were going to have that network. A lot of those games were going to be on the NFL network and things of that nature. And it started off really promising, and it just, I guess, it seemed like there was some money issues there, and that's where things kind of snowballed down.
Yeah. Uh. Well, where are we going with this, Alan? I have no idea where Coach Shiver is. I wish I could figure it out. He's not coming up. There's no green light saying he's even online.
Yeah, I didn't see any indication he's coming back. Unfortunately, I wanted to get his insight. I was going to even ask him about a couple other things.
Me
Yeah,
too.
but
I had a couple. I had all in my head here what I was going to ask him, and when that happened, it's losing me now. It's leaving my head. But anyway, like I said, the
but
UFL
yeah,
looks good this year too. The UFL is probably going to be pretty awesome.
yeah, that's probably a good idea. The just to have reschedule. That's probably
Yeah,
best.
yeah, that's what we'll do. Sounds good to me, Alan. We'll reschedule another show.
Yeah, I agree. And Coach Iver's always welcome. We may have had some his phone died or technical difficulties, unfortunately, but definitely we got at least some insight of what was going on. And no, it wasn't a scam. As far as I know, people even reach out to me. Is this the voodoo scam? I mean, they legitimately fans asked me that, and I was like, no. But it even made you think about it because there was so much changing, so much going on,
Yeah, so much
change of
undecided.
venue,
Yeah, you couldn't.
so much uncertainty is the word.
Yeah, uncertainty, and you couldn't find an answer anywhere where you searched and looked. It was like almost like you were out in space somewhere trying to figure out what is going on with this team. You know what I mean? So you're going, and I was a fan for decades with that team, so I was lost. I didn't know. I'm sure Coach Shiver probably was really lost because he was the coach, and then he had a lot of rough times. I hear so, but
Yeah,
but we
and for those
made
who
it.
don't know, I saw a lot of posts. For those who don't know, Coach Cyber was working hard. I saw a lot of posts he made when things were changing to keep people updated, and I think even the changes were getting too overwhelming for him to the point where he couldn't even keep up. And then, as he said, he felt he felt as if things were changing so much and he was catching people in lies that he couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of lying going on, a lot of deceit. So I can't imagine how he addressed his players, Coach Shiver. I don't know how he dealt with that, but being the gentleman that he is, he probably dealt with it gracefully. If I know Coach Shiver,
Yeah.
he could be graceful, but I wouldn't want to cross him. You know what I mean? But all right, I mean, how much? I think Alan, maybe we can, kind of
Just
cut it
I think
short.
probably it's probably right to reschedule.
Yeah, we'll reschedule. It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
And
just because you have not getting a response, and he might be tied up or something at this point. You never know. We're praying that everything's okay on his end. I haven't seen anything that indicates he's online. We reach out to him via text.
Me
Yeah.
neither. Brian said here on the chat, he said, of course, I had more info posted in Voodoo Magic than the league put out, which probably was true. I mean, that's where
Yep.
I go to Voodoo Magic, you know, to find out my stuff, where I would talk to Coach. Somehow I lost, you know, uh, contact with Coach too. I don't know how that happened either. I know he was so busy running around with the players and this and that and stuff. So we kind of lost track of each other for a little bit. But yeah, Coach, if you're listening, I'm sorry we missed you, but we're gonna have you on for another episode. And make sure you have your phone charged, Coach, please. We'll have
As
you
always,
on.
yeah. Whatever it is, dude.
We'll
Charge it
have
up
you
next
on
time.
here again
Yeah,
for
we'll have you
part.
back on. No worries.
Yep.
All right.
Man. All right, Alan, I'm gonna let you go, my friend. I love you, man. And we did it. We were here. There's always
Yeah,
something happening. It's live. So there's always something
yep.
happening. It never
Don't worry,
amazes me.
fans. We'll get Coach Shiver back on again for you. We'll get the rest of the story, and we're working on Coach Shiver and plus a lot more. We don't want to spill out too much because we want to make sure we can facilitate those first, and then we'll keep you posted.
Right. Okay, Alan.
All right,
Next
man.
time, part two of this interview with James Shiver. And
Yep.
I'll catch you later, Alan.
All right, now take it
All
easy.
right. Bye. Bye,
Take
buddy.
care. Take care. Bye bye now.